televangelists are historically corrupt. I mean, they're legendary for their illegal activities. So there were a bunch of them in the 80s that stole from their followers and had their empires collapse. And then, of course, there's the Ted Haggards of the world. This guy was preaching against gay people and preaching sexual morality. And then he was caught blowing gay hookers while doing crystal meth. Family values, my ballsack. And then there's also the lunatic Todd Bentley who punches cancer patients because he thinks, oh, I could heal them. I mean, just insane stuff. And then there's that guy Peter Popoff. I think we did a story about him once. This is a guy who literally sells vials of water as a cure for bankruptcy and cancer. If there was ever a time when you needed government regulation and people to step in and say, hey, man, you're committing fraud, you're going to jail, it's for Peter fucking Popoff. Well, today we add to this list. There's a guy named Paul Crouch. He's the founder of the world's largest Christian TV channel. Now, perhaps surprisingly, it's not CBN. I thought it was CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network. No. It's the Trinity Broadcasting Network. And this guy is known for multiple things, but mainly that he preached the prosperity gospel. Okay, and which is not only the idea that God wants you to be rich, and there are plenty of guys. I think Joel Osteen preaches a version of that, and there's one other preacher I can't remember. Creflo Dollar. This is another guy who teaches that, a black preacher who basically teaches that version of Christianity, which isn't even really Christianity. They kind of made it up, this idea that Jesus is like, wants you to drive a fucking Mercedes and have a mansion and make a lot of money. Nonsense. Jesus was massively anti-rich. If there's anything that's not debatable in the Bible, and specifically the New Testament, it's that. Okay? So this guy did that, and he also naturally, as all of them do, he claimed to be holier than thou. But he also claimed, if you give me money, God will reward you. Well, how fucking convenient is that? I mean, it's the biggest and easiest scam you could ever imagine. Well, he passed away last year, and his FBI files have been released, and it turns out that Crouch was sued by his granddaughter and other family members. Quote, Crouch used money acquired during praise-a-thons to purchase sham loans, which were then used to finance an $8 million Hawker jet aircraft purchased by Trinity Broadcasting for the personal use of director Janice Crouch, and, quote, multiple motor vehicles, including a $100,000 motorhome purchased by Trinity Broadcasting as a mobile residence for director Janice Crouch's dogs. They're like a caricature of themselves. They're a parody of themselves. They are an SNL skit. They're like, oh yeah, we love Jesus. Everybody, worship, give him praise, and give us money. We just bought a $100,000 motorhome for our dogs and a fucking Hawker jet aircraft. $8 million worth. Insane. But it gets better. Paul Crouch was, quote, in communication with the infamous Bronx Mafia figure Vincent Gigante with regards to a narcotics transfer of funds, which is how the FBI classifies money laundering. So Mr. Holier Than Thou, apart from his $8 million aircrafts and his $100,000 motorhomes for dogs and robbing your ass, right? He's also money laundering for the Mafia. Stay classy. Tell me again how holy you are. I missed it. But my favorite part, quote, in another document, Crouch is listed alongside Reverend Earl Pauk and Oral Roberts, another big-time televangelist, as, quote, anti-Semitic white supremacists who were supposedly receiving funds from the Palestinian Liberation Organization to run guns via an Islamic education center in Baltimore, Maryland. So do you understand that? They got guns to Palestinian terrorists because they hated the Jews that much. Again, tell me again how you're holier than thou. And that's also particularly strange because most of these, like John Hagee, Rod Parsley, Pat Robertson, the rest of them, most of these guys are vehemently pro-Israel, the televangelists. Now, why are they? For a nefarious reason. They think that that's where Jesus is going to return, and he's going to basically kill all the Jews and convert some and then fly bodily back to heaven, right? That's where the rapture is going to happen. So that's why usually these guys are insanely anti-Palestine, anti-Gaza. They don't want a two-state solution. They want Israel to crush everybody, right? But these guys, what they make clear in the article about this, they're like, no. They hate Jews so much because they think, they're the ones that killed Jesus. Well, Jesus was a Jew also, right? But they don't pay no mind to that. They hate Jews so much, like, fuck it, just let's run guns to the PLO, the most rabid militaristic Palestinians, and say, okay, yeah, go ahead, kill them, because we don't like them. So let's review. Lover of Jesus, robbing $8 million for you for aircrafts, spending $100,000 of your money on a motor home for dogs, basically robbing from you and lying and saying God wants you to give him money and then God will enrich you. That never fucking happens, right? And you're laundering money for the Mafia and giving guns to terrorists through an Islamic center. Clearly, everybody can see how religion is holy and pure, and it makes you a better person, and it has nothing to do with duping over not too bright people.